Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I have been a member of this House for almost 7 years, and rarely have I spoken on a bill of such great importance, not just to the country in Scotland, but to my own constituents. And it is a great pleasure to follow the right honourable gentleman from Aldershot. And whilst we fundamentally disagree about our views of the European Union, it's right that we're able in this House to express those views on behalf of our constituents and the country. And if that's what taking back control is about, let's talk about that democratic process, because we are only here today, and we were only here yesterday, because the public in this country were able to take this government to court to express their views that the government were railroading through a decision in this country without due process and without the taking back control they promised to this Parliament. And we should pay tribute to them that we're here able to make these arguments on behalf of our constituents. I campaigned vigorously for a Remain vote, like many members and honourable members in this chamber. Indeed, someone who campaigned alongside me night after night, Mr. Speaker, was one of my party members, Gordon Dalziel, the son of Tam Dalziel. And if I could just pay tribute to Tam in the few seconds that I have, and say that our thoughts are with Gordon, Pam, Matthew and the rest of the Dalziel family. But the reason I campaigned so vociferously for the UK to remain a member of the European Union is because it's in our national interest to do so. When I was tramping around the streets of my constituency in 2010 and 2015, I wasn't knocking on doors promising my constituents that I was elected to this House, I would do everything I possibly can to make their lives poorer. Indeed, the new Chancellor of the Exchequer has said quite clearly on the record that nobody votes to make themselves poorer. So it's incumbent on everyone in this House throughout this process not to just railroad this bill through as if it doesn't matter, but to fight for every single amendment on this bill to make sure that this House sends a strong message, both to the government and to our European partners, that we will make sure that this country gets the best deal for our constituents. I won't give way, if you don't mind, because of the timescales on other people wishing to speak. Mr. Speaker, at the end of that process in terms of the EU referendum, 78% of my constituents voted to remain. Now, many arguments across this chamber in the last day or so have talked about not respecting the will of the people, not respecting the democratic will of the people. But as far as I'm concerned, and according to Erskine May, we are representatives of our constituents. None of these decisions in this House are taken easily. In fact, it's with a heavy heart that I will vote against triggering Article 50 this evening. But I'll do so in the knowledge that I can walk down the streets of Edinburgh South and look at my constituents in the eye and say to them that I've done everything I possibly can to protect their jobs, to protect their livelihoods and to protect the future for their family. But when this bill goes through, as the bill will, because we know the bill will go through after third reading and through its passage in the House of Lords, I'll work enthusiastically to make sure that we can get amendments to this bill and we can hold this government to account. Because Brexit might mean Brexit, Mr. Speaker, but to my constituents and to many people across this country, Brexit doesn't mean Tory Brexit. And the rhetoric we've been getting from this government is wrong, and I don't know why they're fighting the people to stop this Parliament having a say, and I don't know why they're not reaching out across this chamber to try and get a common sound and a common voice to make sure that Britain can get the best possible deal from our European partners. I will vote no this evening against triggering Article 50, but be rest assured I'll spend the rest of the time in this chamber making sure I fight for my constituents' lives.